Good evening. My name is Mary Liverati, and I'm the president of the League of Women Voters of Northern Nevada. I'd like to welcome you to our forum tonight on the Board of Supervisors and School Trustee candidates. This forum is presented by the League of Women Voters of Northern Nevada, the American Association of University Women Capital Branch, and the Sierra Nevada Forums. These three organizations are nonpartisan groups of people dedicated to getting the facts to the public on a variety of issues in order to help the voters make more informed decisions. Partnership Carson City is also a sponsor. We want to thank the audience here at the Carson Community Center and our television audience watching Carson TV for participating in this very important process of our democracy. Volunteers on the floor will collect questions from the audience. Please write one question per index card. The volunteers will give the questions to our screeners just to avoid duplication of the same question. The moderator will then read the questions to the panel members. I would also like to remind people that the League has put out a voter's guide, which is on the website lwvnn.org. And it's my pleasure now to introduce our moderator for the evening, Robert Morin. Robert is a professor at the Western Nevada College here in Carson City. He has a BA in Political Science and Sociology from Hamline University. He has an MA in Criminal Justice from George Washington University. He has a JD of Law from Gonzaga University and a PhD in Political Science from the University of Nevada, Reno. We're very pleased to have you with us tonight, Robert.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for the invitation. Just a couple of preliminary comments for everybody in the audience as well as us up here. If you have a cell phone or smartphone or your computer, basically, would you please be kind enough to put it on a vibrate mode so that it doesn't ring and disrupt the process this evening? Would appreciate that greatly. Additionally, politics, government it happens to be a field that's pretty exciting. It's also at times charged emotionally with people having particular sides of issues. That's wonderful. It's part of the democratic process. However, would ask that you please remind yourself at all time that we will treat everybody with dignity and respect. Questions are great, but we'll treat everybody with dignity and respect, please. So, with no further comments, we'll start this evening's format. The forum is set up in such a fashion that we will begin with the Board of Supervisors, and then we'll have the trustees later. So we'll start with the supervisors. We have our supervisors, the candidates up before us. Each of you will have 4 minutes to respond to 2 questions that were provided to you ahead of time. There are some questions that have been prepared by the sponsors. Those questions have not been released to any candidates or anybody other than a couple of us when we walked in the door, so no candidate has prior knowledge of the questions that will be asked this evening, other than the 2 in advance that they will respond to in just a moment. So, we may as well get started. So the first question will be, why are you seeking this office and what are your qualifications? The second question, what are the top 3 issues you see for Carson City and how would you address them if elected? After your opening comments, we will accept questions on index cards from the audience, and each of our candidates will have 1 minute to respond to each question. Accordingly, if you have a question for one candidate, it will be asked of all 4. It will not be specified as to just one candidate. So each of you will have 1 minute to respond. At the end, each of our candidates will have 1 minute for closing statements. We have a timer across the way with the computer that will clearly show the time factor. Please stay within the confines of time so that we can get through all sorts of good questions this evening. Would appreciate that. We shall begin, and we'll start in alphabetical order. So, Karen, we'll start with you, please.
Carson City's future matters to me, not only as a 2-decade meeting payroll businesswoman, but as a grandparent with grandchildren growing up here. As your supervisor for Ward 1 and Mayor Pro Tem, I do not have a learning curve on the business of governing Carson City. Making tough decisions, determining priorities, and using resources wisely with fiscal responsibility is my proven record and continues as my primary concern. For over 20 years as a community volunteer, I have a history of bridge building and problem solving by engaging the talents, efforts, and expertise of others. These teams, sharing interests and goals, produced results that were both meaningful and long-term for our community. My candidacy for re-election is based on the commitment to continue our enhancement and continue our momentum for a more vibrant Carson City. Our economy is beginning to recover, and we face an impending challenge with the I-580 freeway bypass scheduled to complete in 2017. I recognize the urgent need to promote, support, and retain our businesses while growing our economic base. With Tesla's arrival, bringing new high-paying primary jobs so as to attract our youth to study, stay, and live here, is but one part of the most significant responsibility to further achieve a sustained, stable community. I will continue my deliberate conversations with Northern Nevada Development Authority and other business organizations to bring that synergy of businesses that, 1, enhance our current manufacturing sector, 2, expand further into technology, and 3, promote advanced healthcare research and agriculture. In pursuing a vision for economic development, Carson City needs to position itself as the drive-to, not the drive-by community. Increasing the economic base includes issues such as expanding senior services, prioritizing and accomplishing needed capital improvements, exploring renewable energy opportunities at the landfill to increase the general fund, also exploring effluent and stormwater retention opportunities, and funding the arts, an economic driver in their own right. Linked to this, employer workforce and education and classroom relevancy to the real-world job market. Encouraging and monitoring internship programs with local industries and other businesses is essential to our economy. To pique interest and engage our youth's early direction, be it trade school for a trained workforce or higher education, is also of vital importance. The ultimate goal? To create a marketing team with Western Nevada College, Northern Nevada Development Authority, the May and Hop Adams Foundation, and our manufacturing sector. How we market Carson City in this region can create a high-tech workforce to support industry skills that can be used locally, regionally, and globally. The quality of our schools surpasses schools regionally, and that needs to be promoted repeatedly. This is integral to the continued revitalization of Carson City. My first term as supervisor was during one of our worst historical downturns economically. Fiscal responsibility was then, is now, and will have my utmost attention. Working with our new city manager, I will persist in forwarding a pay-for-performance philosophy with certifications and maintained performance to be attached to pay increases for city employees. This benefits our community and our city employees who conscientiously serve. I will also pursue a lean manager study assessing department processes to determine significant increased efficiencies. Time is money, period. I thank you for your attention, and I ask for your support.
Thank you very much, Karen. Proceeding in order, Lisa, 4 minutes, please.
Good evening. I have 27 years' experience serving the taxpayers working in state government. My career included various job positions with increasing levels of responsibility and leadership skills. I have experience working with detailed project plans and managing budgets from different contributing sources. I was personally responsible for ensuring taxpayer money was appropriated from the applicable funding sources. I have the needed experience working with different people in various working classifications and can professionally and clearly communicate objectives to lead a project to a successful outcome. I'm fair-minded and consistently demonstrate a spirit of cooperation to achieve a satisfactory compromise when deciding issues. I have the working experience necessary to understand and approve funding for Public Works Project, which is the largest department in the city, and have served in the best interests of the taxpayers with fiscally conservative spending when adding or decreasing costs associating to projects I have been associated with. I work for the Nevada Department of Transportation for 27 years. I've been the lead member on projects for multi-million-dollar jobs and tens of thousands of dollars of jobs. My philosophy regarding an elected position is to represent the constituents' voices and respect their right to vote on issues, not ignore the majority opinion and vote to cater to special interests or self-serving agendas. My three big primary focuses regarding our city government are spending. Carson City is already $150 million in debt obligation. I am opposed to future unfunded capital projects which unnecessarily burden our future with excessive debt and will maintain real fiscal restraint with the city budget. Performance of the city. Quit spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in consulting and audit fees and not following their expert recommendations. We need to utilize our current staff and the needed classifications to perform their job duties. We have excellent minds in the city and on our staff that can provide these services. Reform city government. Restore and respect the citizens' votes on key issues. Provide real citizen outreach to gain a better civic idea to validate our proposals. Provide true teamwork and leadership to solve complex issues for the benefit of the entire community. And provide true transparency to citizens by showing how and where their money is being spent. I have experience in resource management, putting people in positions and providing them proactive leadership to produce positive outcome for a project. Fiscal responsibility. Always seeking out the best cost-effective options to get the best quality project for the least amount of taxpayer money to achieve the greatest returns on our investments is my biggest goal as your supervisor for Ward 1. And strategic planning. Looking farther out than just a few years to provide for long-term true benefits of a project by either avoiding bad decisions in the first place and or working cooperatively through conflict resolution to achieve a successful outcome. I hope you'll agree with my philosophy to lead Carson City to a better fiscal, responsible, and accountable future for all of our citizens. And I respectfully ask you to consider me for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lisa. Lori, 4 minutes, please.
Good evening. I'm Lori Bagwell, candidate for Supervisor Ward 3. I want to thank the League of Women Voters, the Sierra Nevada Forums, and the University Women and Partnership Carson City for hosting this forum tonight. A bit about myself. I grew up in Carson City. I graduated from Carson High and Western Nevada Community College. I have a bachelor's degree in business administration. My husband and I own a small business, Charlie's Grilled Subs. So I well understand the financial risks, sacrifices, and long hours it takes to make a business successful. I began working for the state as a student for the Department of Taxation and retired as Deputy Director for the Department of Corrections. Along the way, I successfully solved budgetary challenges that face many governmental units, balancing the needs of the agencies with those of the taxpayers. I'm running for supervisor because I care about Carson City. I volunteer my time to various civic and charitable groups, including the Redevelopment Advisory Citizens Committee, which I chair. This committee works to rehabilitate our business districts. The County Board of Equalization, which is mandated by law to hear appeals of property tax assessments. It provides an excellent opportunity for taxpayers to make their case to lower their valuations. And Friends in Service Helping, FISH, provides food, clothing, and shelter for the less fortunate in our community. Working with others, we were able to launch a successful campaign to refinance our building and ensure these needed services would continue. To me, Carson City is a special place. And while it needs to grow, I want to ensure it retains its friendliness, its concern for senior citizens as much as its children, and its quality of life, both recreationally and fiscally. My major priorities include placing money in the rainy day fund. Carson City has not saved 1 penny in this fund over the last 4 years. This is our savings account for emergencies. Putting money in the rainy day fund is a part of our official fiscal policy, and it should be followed. Ensuring we have partnerships between education and business to provide an educated workforce for existing and new businesses, and to make Carson City easy for businesses to open, grow, and thrive. I support public-private partnerships that save the taxpayers money. Seeing the animal shelter completed in a fiscally responsible way, we must work with Cassie, the Nevada Humane Society, and the public to ensure the new operations will not require the city to raise taxes or fees. I support the board's adherence to the open meeting law and will work to hold more public hearings on issues of interest to you and listening to your suggestions. It would be an honor to serve the residents of Carson City, and I look forward to answering your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lori. John, 4 minutes, please.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the League and Sierra Nevada Forums and the Association of University Women for this opportunity to express views, and I'd also like to thank my fellow candidates and the school board candidates that are following later. Unless you do it, you don't realize the effort and the courage it takes to put your name out there on a ballot to represent the citizens of Carson City. And I thank them for doing it. We need more. My philosophy, basically, first off, I guess it determines who I am because I am a CPA, Certified Public Accountant. And Certified Public Accountants see everything as numbers. It's either one way or the other. There isn't a whole lot of emotion that goes into decisions. And so my decisions are made on a realistic, factual, and focused basis. I also have a lot of experience. I've been a CPA for 30 years. I represent clients of all walks of life, from some people in Silicon Valley that are major players there, to people that live in foreign countries, to, pardon the phrase, little old ladies. I have a 93-year-old client, and she's probably the smartest person I've ever met. I've also know government fairly well, not just my 16 years on the school board, which I ran for a long time ago, 16 years ago, actually probably about 20 years ago. And I ran for the school board because the bond projects were not being managed properly. Fiscal mismanagement, that's my thing. I believe citizens need to get involved and help government manage your money fiscally responsibly. I'm on the audit committee for the city, Parks and Recreation Committee. I've been on Parks and Rec for I don't know how long, probably 15 years. I chair the Regional Transportation Commission. We're the people that are not fixing your roads. Actually, we are fixing your roads the best we can, and there's reasons why they can't be done better, but in 2016 you'll have a chance to remedy that. Carson Water Subconservancy District. 2010, when I started, this city was broke. We were laying off people. We didn't know if we were going to be able to, if we were going to basically go bankrupt. The whole nation didn't know if it was going to go bankrupt. It was a terrible time. 2011, we kept laying off people and we raised taxes. At that time, we promised you we would get rid of the taxes or get rid of the property tax increase when we could. We haven't been able to get rid of all of it yet. 2012, the economy stabilized, but we're not out of the red yet. 2013, the economy's picked up some. We've taken care of some deferred maintenance, and the other thing is we started working on projects that were problems, such as the wastewater treatment plant. In 2014, the economy has picked up some. As part of our increasing your water and sewer rates, we built in reserves into the water and sewer rates. We put a citizens committee in charge of watching over the water sewer rates. And we cut real property tax by 2 cents. We're the only county in Nevada that did it. The three top things: continue to take care of business in Carson City, take care of Carson City's business, and be efficient taking care of Carson City's business. Thank you.
John, thank you very much. We will now proceed to the questions. Each of our candidates will have 1 minute to respond to the question, and we're going to go in a rotating order so that every candidate will hear it in first impression on one of the questions along the way. So we'll begin with Lisa. And the question is this. Tesla and other companies are moving to Sparks, Reno, and are projected to draw high-paying and skilled labor jobs to that area and cause potential worker shortages here. How do you see local government addressing workforce shortages? Give real-world examples of how local government can work with WNC and the local high school to help fill the gaps in labor that will be created. 1 minute.
Thank you for that, and 1 minute to answer. I know the high school does have advanced programs for advanced students at college level educational opportunities, so I would assume that those students would go to WNC for that specialized training to provide Tesla the quality knowledge of potential employees that they need. I don't see it as a shortage of Carson City for workers. We have an unemployment rate right now, and I would believe that those people would love the opportunity to drive to Tesla to have a high-paying job. I don't see it as a detriment to Carson City. I see it as a benefit to Carson City. A lot of those employees are going to be living in our city and spending their money in our city and traveling to Tesla and coming back home. So I don't think it's a detriment to Carson City at all. If anything, it's a community benefit for all of the surrounding areas of Reno, Sparks, Carson City, Fernley, Story County. I'm happy they're here, and I'm hopeful that a lot of us Carsonites that are unemployed are going to have an opportunity for a job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lori.
Okay. So the first thing I would do is consider getting with staff from Tesla to determine what the skills are that they need to hire, since the construction, I understand, is 2 to 3 years out. So I think we have a great opportunity to find out right now what they need, and to get with our high school and our Western Nevada College and start filling that void and putting coursework together over this 2 years so that they can meet those challenges and fill those roles. And I don't know specifically what they're going to need, but I know we have workers ready to do it.
Thank you. John, please.
Okay, first off, I don't know that Tesla is ever going to build, but we'll see. I know they're doing it now, but I don't trust Fortune 500 companies. I've had experience with them before, and so I'm taking a we'll see approach. However, I've talked to Chet, president of the college. They are already starting their programs out there. They have programs in place. They also want to put a campus out there. TMCC and WNC want to put a campus out there once it's up and running. As far as Carson City goes, I've been talking to my manufacturing clients, but basically what we do is we sit down with the people that work for them that they want to keep, and we have done analysis, and we explain to them what it's going to cost them to move, what it's going to cost them to drive out there. Yeah, you may get a few dollars more in your paycheck, but how long you got to have a job there, et cetera. Do you really want to move to Fernley? So we're dealing with, so the manufacturers here in Carson City are dealing with the problem with their employees. The other thing is we have to look at Tesla as a chance for economic growth. Panasonic's going out there. Out of time, sorry. I'll talk to you about it later.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, throw something at me next time.
Karen?
Well, I'll pick up where John left off. Tesla is an opportunity for economic growth, and I looked at that and addressed that in my opening speech. I see Tesla as an opportunity for us to gear up and raise the bar on our educational level in our schools, both high school and the community college, to prepare for an educated workforce. And the high school right now, tomorrow I'll be attending the dedication of their engineering building. They are getting geared up. We are getting geared up and ready, and we'll continue that process. Initially, yes, will it create a shortage of workforce in our community? Probably will. However, with that shortage And with the desirability of our community, I see that shortage being short-lived, and more people coming here to access the jobs at Tesla and also to help build our economy. So I look at Tesla as an opportunity for growth and development and expansion and raising the bar in education and raising the bar on the level of services that we provide as community.
Karen, thank you very much. The next question is, and this will start off with Lori on this round. This is the question. Do you agree with how the animal control contract was handled? Will it save money? Will there be proper control and oversight?
Thank you for that question. I think that the Nevada Humane Society will do an absolute wonderful job for Carson City Animal Services. Do I think there'll be adequate controls? Sorry, is that what I heard in there?
It states, will it save money? Will there be proper control and oversight?
I think that it will save money. The contract currently calls for $700,000, and there's a 10-year phase for that, and no increases were built into that contract. In normal city government, the answer would be it would increase each year. So I think the taxpayer will get a benefit and a savings from the Nevada Humane Society providing that service. Do I think adequate controls were built into the contract? I might have put more in there, but we always have the ultimate control by canceling the contract.
Thank you. John?
Okay, do this fast. For handled, it was handled, could have been handled better, but it was handled well enough. We have a contract. It's too bad we got to the situation that we got to having to go outside, but we had to do that. Will it save money? Perhaps. But it will, I tell you, raise the bar in Carson City as to how animals are handled, and the people that care about animals in this town will be happy with the way that it works. Adequate control, yes. I trust the city manager, and I guarantee you he will not let that thing fail. It is going to be the best operation in the state.
Thank you very much. Karen, same question, please.
All right. Yes, I do feel that the city actually gets $1 million worth of service for $700,000, so the value is definitely there. I also feel, first of all, that the Nevada Humane Society has a board that stands behind it, actually invests in that, the Humane Society, and intends that it succeed. Senator Kiefer sits on that board, Mindy Elliott sits on the board. There's a long list of folks that sit on that board. There will also be a citizen oversight committee paying attention to what's going on out there as well. And they do have adequate oversight. Kevin is on top of things in terms of animal control. He will have an expanded force. And specifically, he will have an expanded staffing and expanded resources and officers that will be dispatched based upon calls and complaints. They will be trained, and he has a service-first attitude in terms of how that facility will be handled. It's a contract. If it doesn't work.
Thank you, Karen. Lisa?
I am a fan of the Nevada Humane Society. They provide excellent care and adoption programs as an adoption animal welfare facility. They are not an animal control per their own rules. They are forbidden by law to take in stray animals, which is what our contract specifically requires them to perform. They do not have the experienced, trained personnel on staff to provide the services in the contract as an independent contractor. I think the city made a mistake to hire them as an independent contractor over our animal control services, and think that we should have partnered with them to assist us in what our challenges have been regarding the animal services division. So I think a city department should run city funds with city tax-paid money. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lisa. The next question is, The EPA has provided a grant for the William Street corridor in Carson City. Can you please address this subject, what it means for our city? And we'll begin with you, John.
For those that didn't read about it or don't know, it's basically the EPA provides consultants to come in and help capital cities, 5 in the United States, Carson City is one of them, look at their downtown or look at their actually their projects and see if there's a way that the community can be made more friendly and more efficient. Having said that, it's 3 days of work by some consultants who are going to come in and give us a look. The governor's office has to be involved, and that's basically what they're going to do. They're going to look at Carson City and give us some advice, so we get some outside consultants for free. It's a grant, so I think it's a good thing, but it's not going to bind us to anything.
Thank you very much, John. Karen?
John spoke to most of it. However, the designs will become part of the proposed corridor improvements planned for William Street on Highway 50 East and the entire length of Carson Street. Our city planner, Lee Plemmel, was responsible for the recognition on that particular grant, and he applied for it, and it is because of our corridor improvements that we were even looked at for this. So I feel that it is a gift to us and another set of eyes about what we can do on that corridor, and I look forward to them coming.
Thank you, Karen. Lisa?
I thank Lee Plemmel for advertising and, for applying for the grant and us getting it. Free money is always good to assist us in our endeavors to improve our city appearance and quality of life. With that being said, I'm interested in why it was designated for William Street as opposed to the downtown sector, being how that's going to be the first sector completed. I guess we can work with that when the people come to assess the situation, but it is a good thing. There is nothing wrong with getting a grant to help us improve. Saves money for us, good for the citizens, good for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Lori?
I think what the grant gives us is an opportunity to take a breath, to slow down and let some others look at the projects that we have to make sure we're going down the right path before we spend our money. So I look at it as a wonderful opportunity to let some others from not in our community help us, again, to make sure we don't spend any money that we regret.
Thank you, Lori. Next question. And on the next question, it's going to be starting with Karen. What do you think of the potential changes to Carson City's downtown streetscape as explained in the Refresh Carson City plan? If you do not like the plan, what would you change? How would you revitalize downtown Carson City?
First of all, I do like the plan. I think the 3 lanes is a great way to go. I love the widened sidewalks. I love the ability to have parking on Main Street so that it shows that people are home. I also like the fact that there are bike lanes for a bike-friendly designation in this community, which would be highly important for tourism. The snow removal issue will be handled the same as it was before. The center turn lane makes it easy to access businesses, and I think it opens up our streetscape. And it's sad that we have to remove the center medians, but the infrastructure underneath the street needs to be repaired. They're clay pipes. We're removing 1 tree and planting 2. Because there'll be trees that go on either side on the sidewalks. So I like the direction that we're heading, and I think it was a very refreshed look at where we're going.
Thank you, Karen. Lisa?
I'm against the artist rendering of our proposed changes to downtown. I believe the only accurate thing on the artist rendering are the 2 jaywalkers pictured on it. I don't believe that we should narrow Carson Street when the significant drop in traffic has already happened by the freeway being completed to Fairview. Extending it farther out to Spooner is not going to produce another significant drop. If we lose a little bit more cars, Carson Street is still busy enough to maintain 4 lanes and our medians with our turn pockets. We have turn pockets that can get everybody to the businesses. We don't need to rip out those beautiful, mature landscape medians. And I know that a majority of the citizens are still concerned about that. So the narrowing of Carson Street, I believe, is the worst idea in the plan. My alternate plan would be to go back to the Curry Street Experience master plan that has already had improvements made to it that we can enhance without spending $27 million on a big gamble. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Lori?
I've been walking all of the neighborhoods and talking to the residents to ask them what they really think of this project, because that's what's really important since you're the ones that are going to pay for it. Overwhelmingly, the residents are not supporting the narrowing of Carson Street. I think that what's necessary before we implement this project is to make sure that we have a good traffic plan for those residents on the west side. I think they're concerned that the narrowing will make it difficult for them to leave their homes and get where they're needing to go. So I think we need a little more information before we implement this. The other issue for me is the road is still useful, and I'm not sure I like tearing up a road and paying $6.8 million when we have so many other roads that need to be fixed.
Thank you, Lori. John, please.
The reality is the street has to be torn up. Probably should have been done 10 years ago. Those pipes could break tomorrow. I don't know if you saw UCLA in Los Angeles with their major water pipe break, but the point is 64-year-old pipes need maintenance. So it's going to be torn up sooner or later. In 2016, the legislature has mandated that all counties in Nevada put on the ballot a measure for the people to vote on called gas tax indexing. That means your gas tax will automatically, if it passes here in Carson City, it means your gas tax will automatically increase every year based upon the producer price index. If it doesn't pass, then we're going to be very short of any type of road funds because gas tax nationwide is dropping as people, electric cars, drive less, etc. Your gas tax is going to drive. That's your source of street maintenance. I'm out of time. Again.
You said you couldn't fill up the time.
Eagle eye on the time over there. Thank you. Our next...
Get to it.
Our next question, and this will start with Lisa, is a follow-up to the previous question. How much money will downtown businesses be contributing to the multi-million-dollar downtown project? If the answer is none, please explain.
Well, the answer is something, but no one has ever disclosed what it is. We still haven't had a detailed meeting with the downtown owners or the property owners, and because the total amount of the project has increased from 17 million to 20 million to 27 million, and it keeps going up. They have no idea how much their responsibility and fees for the maintenance of the project is going to be. I can't find any information. The people that put this together, being Downtown 2020 and our Board of Supervisors, needs to start communicating with the businesses directly to allow them the time to prepare for the amount of money that's going to impact their livelihoods paying for these fees. So I can't offer an amount because nobody knows, including me, and I'm embarrassed about that on behalf of the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Lori?
We don't have any figures yet on what the expected contribution for the businesses are, so I agree that we really can't answer that question at this time. But I'm sure that we will have to work out a fair and equitable methodology to do that distribution or those fees for those businesses, but we have no information at this time.
Thank you, Lori. John?
That's why it happened. They're starting me at 34 seconds now.
I'm leaving you extra
Okay.
time.
The answer to this question is we don't know. It will be something, and it's going to be discussed. I don't know if you read Supervisor Bonkowski's and John Barrett's article in the paper, but it's a very good article. In 2017, the freeway, 2016, 2017, the freeway will be finished. At that time, when we find out about gas tax indexing, when we find out what's going on with the freeway, I think we need to look at our entire road system in Carson City and put it on a long-term basis. This tear up this street, tear up that street, just doesn't work. We need to get on a long-term basis how we're going to pay for it and what we're going to do.
Thank you, John. Karen, please.
There is a spreadsheet out that was provided at the last meeting that dictates the schedule for design concepts. It goes everywhere from now all the way through to March of 2015. The complete concepts for that downtown corridor are not yet decided. That is up to input that we get, that the downtown corridor provides, that will determine actually the improvements that go into that area. And then at that time, costs will be determined for maintenance, but cannot be until the final designs are done. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. And the next question is a follow-up on the previous two questions. And Lori, you'll be first up on this. And here's the question. If the downtown project is so good for business, why isn't the Chamber of Commerce supporting it?
Oh, now really, you're putting me on the spot to speak for the Chamber. It's my understanding that the Chamber did not take a position on the downtown project, so not supporting or supporting, I think that honestly, it depends on the type of business that you are on whether or not you believe this project will be beneficial to you. So if you're a drive-by kind of business, you don't want to narrow the streets because you need that traffic and that's the only way you get your business. If you're the type that's a destination, you like the narrowing. So I think the Chamber probably fairly decided that it wasn't going to pick its own winners and losers. And again, though, I'm not speaking for Ronnie.
Thank you, Lori. John, please.
I agree. The Chamber is not going to get petty members against each other. All they care about is if we do it right. And if we don't do it, what are we going to do? That's the discussion that needs to take place.
Thank you, John. Karen, please.
Well, I have to echo what's been said, but I will say that after the last charrette that we had on the street alignment, that there are several of the Chamber members who were initially not for it, that all of a sudden went, wow, this works. This makes sense. So I will add that the Chamber did specifically not take a position on this.
Thank you, Karen. Lisa, please.
I think the Chamber, if they've said anything and it's misinterpreted or not, but the Chamber members are businesses in our community. And I've heard from those businesses. There's over 100 businesses that have signed a petition and presented to the Board of Supervisors stating the reasons why they do not want this project to happen. And if the Chamber is their representative, then there may have been alluding to their position as Chamber members as a business. So if the businesses along the route are going to be affected and they don't want it for whatever reasons they came to the board with, then I support the businesses that are going to be impacted by a decision by the board.
Thank you, Lisa. A new question, and this one will begin with John, and here's the question. What is your position on ballot question CC1, ward-only voting? If it passes, how would it change your approach to the job of being a city supervisor?
Okay, CC1, ward-only voting in the primary. It's on the ballot because we told the powers that be that we'd put it on the ballot, and that's why it's there. I don't have an opinion either way on it. Carson City is a small community. Our wards are small. It's not that difficult to run for election in Carson City. Reno, Las Vegas, yeah, it's difficult to run for election because of the territorial differences and the vast number of people. The only problem I have with CC1 is I don't like asking the legislature to look at our charter because we have no way to control them, and who knows what they're going to do to politics in Carson City.
Thank you, John. Same question. Karen, please.
Well, first of all, I wouldn't have to walk the whole town when I campaign, so that would be nice. But it provides a ward-specific focus, but our town is a small town, and our issues relate to the entire town. And so I have a concern about ward-mindedness and returning to silo thinking. That part really bothers me in terms of forward progress in our community. We're not a large metropolitan area, and I think it limits the voters' control over the board as a whole if you're only voting for one member of the board.
Thank you, Karen. Lisa, please, same question.
I'm for ward voting in the primary, especially because although supervisors do make decisions reflecting the whole city, impacting the whole city, you are 1/4 of a board of supervisors. So I believe that your ward should be responsible for picking the person that they would like to represent their voice, their interests, their benefits, anything they have concerns with. They have their focal point. You are their team leader. You are their leader in the decision-making process on the board. And because our board has 4 supervisors and a mayor, you are participating for the whole city. It is a big piece of the pie, but you have responsibility for your piece. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Lori, same question, please.
I'm supporting this ballot question because it only deals with the primary. And the other part of this question that hasn't been brought out to people is it will guarantee that 2 people move forward to the general election. You can no longer win in a primary by getting 50+1 vote. And I think that that will allow more people to make the decision on who will represent them because more people vote in a general election. So since it guarantees 2 candidates moving forward, I support it.
Thank you, Lori. We move on to the next question, and we'll start with this with Karen. And here's the question. How did or would you have voted on the 1/8 cent sales tax ordinance, and why?
I voted for, actually, I co-authored the 1/8 cent sales tax initiative, so I voted for it, and I voted for it for a variety of different reasons. First of all, I work in the design field, and I work all around the community with people of means that want to invest in Carson City. And what I heard from that clientele was, we'd love to invest in Carson City, but we don't see civic investment in Carson City. The 1/8 cent sales tax initiative shows that investment. It accomplishes the multi-purpose athletic center, which is needed to be built for a long time, an animal shelter, which we have needed for over 30 years, and corridor improvements, which we are in dire need of. And those corridor improvements, by the way, free up the street fees from RTC and the Streets Fund because they're included in this project. So it makes our money go farther, and it puts a fresh face on our community. It creates a drive-to and not a drive-by scenario.
Thank you, Karen. Same question. Lisa.
I would have happily voted against the 1/8% sales tax. It's a $27 million bill to the citizens of Carson City that is only going to provide a return of $1 million a year, leaving our future 27 years of paying back this bill. It is a coat of paint. It is not true infrastructure. Our civic investment should be for the infrastructure of Carson City to allow businesses to succeed, to provide them the ability to succeed, but not to pay for them to succeed. The voters, and specifically, overwhelmingly rejected the idea of the 1/8% sales tax for the purposes in which it was going to be spent. Their opinions should have been allowed to be heard through a vote, not rejected, and their opinions should have been respected, and that's what I would have done. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Lori, same question, please.
I would have voted no because the taxpayers approximately 18 months prior to this action had overwhelmingly voted no on a similar, not exact project. Their voice was clear to me that they did not want a downtown revitalization library project. And so I'm sorry that it was bundled with the animal services and the MAC, but because the downtown portion was included in the project, I would have sent it back to the voters since they already overwhelmingly told us no.
Thank you, Lori. John, same question, please.
Well, I guess I'm on the spot because it was my vote that caused it to be implemented. And the voters said, we want a community gym. And so therefore, I listened to the voters. I'm not here to decide that what they voted on was right or wrong. I'm going to get it built. That's why I voted for it. I also voted for those that said the animal shelter needed to be repaired. That was a hue and cry of this community. And I will tell you, I found almost no one who said that one of the projects, that didn't like one of the projects. And then I listened to the majority of the people who I talked to who said, we either move forward or we die as a community. And so that's why I voted for it.
Thank you, John. And we move to a new question, and this question will begin with Lisa, and this is the question. Have you or will you sign any predetermined pledges for no new taxes which would bind your decision-making? Please expound within a minute.
Why do you do this to me? I should have picked another seat. No, I think it's illogical and unreasonable to sign a document that says that. Taxes are not pleasant to anybody. Nobody wants increased taxes, but I will pledge to sign a statement that says any increase in sales taxes for capital projects that the community has an investment in, be it emotionally or financially, I would demand that that go to the voters and that vote be respected. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Same question, Lori, within 1 minute.
Well, it could be easy. No. No, okay, sorry. Could be really easy. That was less than a minute. I'm going to agree a little bit there with what Lisa just said is, while we all would hope that we never have to raise a fee or a tax, my actual pledge to you is I won't raise them unless it's an absolute necessity. It has to be for an emergency. It has to be for the good of the community, something that we have to have, a basic need. I won't do it to raise fees because I want something nice. It has to be a basic requirement for our health and public safety.
Thank you, Lori. John, same question. Expound within a minute.
Okay. My pledge, and I've made this before, when we raised the real property tax rate by 10 cents to make it out of the dire economic straits we were in as a city, I had the board pledge that we would reduce that. We have 8 cents to go. We cut it 2 cents this year, and we're going to cut it 8 cents next year if we can. If we can't, we'll cut it the year after. But the board has promised we're going to reduce the real property tax rate. Taxes are something that go up and down depending upon need because, folks, we may be in another recession in 5 years. Who knows?
John, thank you. Karen, same question, and within a minute.
All right. I would not tie my hands by saying I would not vote for new taxes or say no to new taxes. The job comes, with this job comes the policy of developing policy for public health, safety, and welfare. So I'd have to look at those issues closely with regards to any tax. With that said, sales tax is a shared tax. Anyone that comes here to purchase anything pays that tax. So it's broadly distributed, and if you're not buying big ticket items, it doesn't affect you that much. So I just want to put that out there. Thank you.
Karen, thank you. And we go to a new question, and on this one we'll start with Lori, and this is the question. Knowing everyone intends to be prudent with financial responsibilities for the city, what are 3 unique challenges you will champion to improve Carson City?
Wow, I want to trade places with Lisa after all. I thought she was getting the hard ones. 3 unique things for Carson City. So what I would like to see potentially happen is when items are presented at the Board of Supervisors for expenditure, that they have to tie them into the strategic plan so that before we spend the money, we see where it fits with where we've been. I don't see them doing that often, and that might make us decide not to spend the money because it's not in our overall plan. I think that what happens is issues are brought before the board and they sound good and it's hard to say no, but if you can refer to your plan, you have an ability to say no. So I would do that differently. I'd also like to consider working with all the social service agencies in Carson City to see if there's some synergies we could put together to save money from the city perspective and their perspective, if we could do something together in that arena. And I have 1 second. I got 2.
Thank you, Lori. John, same question.
Could you repeat the question?
Certainly. Knowing everyone intends to be prudent with financial responsibilities for the city, what are 3 unique challenges you will champion to improve Carson City?
To improve Carson City, 1, we need to build our reserves. 2, we need to get deferred maintenance under control. Deferred maintenance is deferred taxes. And the 3rd one is work with the new city manager and use his ability, his intellect, to create modern management, electronic management of the city. We don't need to, Carson City cannot be what it is today 10 years from now and still be successful.
Thank you very much, John. Karen, please, same question.
Unique challenges. First of all, we need to pay down the capital improvements. We need to build our rainy day fund, but we also need to look realistically at the mental health issues in our community. So those are 3 issues that need to be tackled. Those are extremely important, and going forward, that's something that I feel strongly about addressing.
Thank you, Karen. Lisa, the same question, please.
3 issues that I have, I think it's very simple, that we live within the budget that we have and that we demand that our department heads provide us their priority listings of what they must have over what they want to have in their budgets. All the departments must trim the fat. And we need to quit taking money from the contingency fund, from the rainy day funds, from the various requests of organizations that come before the board for unnecessary items that do not benefit the city and its essential services. So we have to quit funding non-essential services and funding them through our rainy day fund, which lessens our ability to take care of what Carson City needs to continue to function well for our citizens. Thank you.
Lisa, thank you very much. And for our 4 candidates, we're at that point in the forum where it's time for the 1-minute closing statement by each of you. And John, we'll begin with you, please.
Okay, to not go over the minute, there's little brochures back there, give you some information on me. Everybody else has it. That way I don't have to say it and spend half hour here talking to you. Carson City is at a point now where things are starting to look better. It's not finished yet. We're not in great shape, but we're going to be in great shape. And the things that have been done now will bring Carson City into the future. I have never voted for a non-essential service. People may not agree that it was essential, but I have never voted for a non-essential service. We look at everything and put it under the magnifying glass, and you get the best dollar for, or best bang for your buck in this town. Thank you.
John, thank you. Karen, please.
I just want to point out that this is what being prepared looks like for these debates. I document my thoughts, and I'm immersed in these issues and determined to pursue solutions. This has been my job as your supervisor, and I take this job seriously, and I take your pocketbook seriously. And every decision that has been made has been agonized over and thought through clearly to get to the right decision. Thank you.
Karen, thank you very much. Lisa, please.
I think the board has had 4 years to make the right decisions, and the right decisions for Carson City is to live within our budget, to respect the voices of the citizens when they repeatedly request for the right to vote on issues that are going to affect their pocketbook. The citizens of Carson City are our partner. The citizens of Carson City tell government what to do. We don't tell them. And I think that that fact has been lost on the board for the last 4 years. I would like your vote for the Carson City Board of Supervisors for Ward 1. I'll respect your voice, I'll respect your vote, and I think we need to turn accountability, respect, responsibility back to the Board of Supervisors, and I would like to do that for you. Thank you.
Lisa, thank you. Lori, please.
I regret there wasn't time to address all of your concerns tonight. However, I am happy to give you my contact information back on the table and answer any further questions you might have. And I really want to thank each of you for listening and taking part in the democratic process. This is how the board can make good decisions if you will come and help us. I hope you will honor me with your vote. Thank you.
Lori, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes this portion of the forum for our candidates for Board of Supervisors. Thank you for attending, and a round of applause for all 4 of our candidates. We'll take a very short break, get set up for the school trustees, and we'll resume in just a couple of minutes. So please stay in the neighborhood. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, let us begin, please. So please come in and take a seat, and we'll begin. Okay. We are now able to move forward, and we're going to our school trustees races. And this is going to be the same setup that we had with respect to the supervisors. So we're going to ask for each of the candidates for school trustee, okay? Each of you will have 4 minutes to respond to 2 questions that you were provided in advance. And the 2 questions are, number 1, why are you seeking this office and what are your qualifications? The second question is, what are the top 3 issues you see for Carson City schools and how would you address them if elected? So one of the candidates, Mr. Bathgate, is not able to be here this evening. However, he sent a prepared statement, and I will read that into the record after our 3 candidates have given their opening statements, which are 4 minutes in length. So we will go in order from my left to the middle, then over to the right. So we'll begin with Ron. You have 4 minutes. Please begin, sir.
Yes, good evening. Again, my name is Ron Swerzik. I'm running for re-election for school trustee, District 1. Now, the reason I'm running is to continue something that I started 4 or 5 years ago, and that's the full implementation of our strategic plan. And it's a 5-year strategic plan built by our community for extraordinary schools. What does that mean? The issues are always student achievement and success, and how do we raise that level? And we continuously raise that level. And how do we continue to engage our community and thank our community for providing meaning to our students for their K-12 education? And then lastly, how do we continuously acknowledge and support our teachers, administrators, and staff, something oftentimes we don't realize how much they do, and we don't take the time to do that. Now, let me give you a little bit of background as we go forward. Before 2009, I observed that Carson City did not have a forward-looking strategic plan to create extraordinary schools needed for our children's futures. Traditionally, school district superintendents would bring forth a strategic plan, and the board would approve it. However, in today's world, it was important for the community to bring forward that plan for what they believe to be necessary for education for our children. But what the difference is, we have and we've had state and federal mandates such as No Child Left Behind, the Common Core, that dictate minimum standards but say nothing about raising the ceiling for our kids. That's where the community comes in, and we'll talk about what do we have to offer, for our kids to reach the ceilings. So with that, we went forward. I initiated, just a process, and 14 months after I was elected, the community came forward with that plan. Now, the community consisted of parents, teachers, students, business members, government officials, higher ed, cultural organizations, libraries, and others. And to start those initial meetings, which were started August 13th, 2011, our moderator here was the same moderator for those first 2 meetings, Mr. Bob Moran. But from there, we came in with some excellent things for our students. Things such as actively connecting every student with learning beyond the classroom. That's 7,500 students, not just a select few, every one of them. Empower families to positively impact their children's education. And we have methods, and I hope through the questions we can discuss those. Promote optimal wellness for all students. Curriculum that matters. Provide multiple pathways that empower lifelong learners, active citizens, and career and college-ready students. And those multiple pathways come through the connection with our community partners. And then attract and attain a preeminent faculty by supporting innovative, creative, and performance in our administrators, teachers, and staff. And I hope this evening we get to discuss what's changed and where we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Stacy, 4 minutes for your opening, please.
Thank you. My name's Stacy Wilkie. I was born and raised here in Carson City and went through the school system that I'm currently governing, which is kind of cool. Graduated in '83, class of Matt Williams. We're all excited about that with the Nationals in there. Had to throw that in. I've been actively involved in this community since I got back in 1993. I was on the board in 1999 and served for 4 years, and then stopped to raise my kids and do their activities. And then the opening came up in 2009, and nobody applied, and so I went down with 15 minutes to go, and my kids dragging me along for the ride. And then got reelected in 2010. But I'm excited. This is an exciting time in our school district with our strategic plan. We had over 150 community members, teachers, students come out, and Robert moderated us all to get to the plan that we have. And it's an exciting plan. We have the Race to the Top grant. We're in the second year of our one-to-one mobile. I just went last night to Mark Twain to see the 5th graders get their laptops, which was kind of exciting. So that's why I'm running. The 3 issues we have, of course, is budget. This is our year that we don't have a rainy day fund. We've used all our ending fund balance. Actually, last year was, but we worked with the teachers. They gave up 2%, and well, all the employees gave up 2%. And luckily, when came down to the bottom line, the legislature gave us more money, so we gave it back. So we're pretty lucky there. But it's going to be a strenuous time for the budget. Plus, Race to the Top ends in a year and a half. So we're going to have to be looking at where we're going to get funds to keep those great programs going. Second thing is space. We've had an increase in enrollment, which is exciting, but it has its own challenges. And third is completing the strategic plan. This plan is so exciting to have all the input, and we keep working on it quarterly and seeing the progress that it makes. And it's very important to me to see that through and make sure that we stay on top of it until 2017. Thank you.
Stacy, thank you very much. Ryan, your 4-minute introduction, please.
How's that? Should I start again? Did you all hear that part? That'll work then. All right, well, the reason I am running is because I care. It's that simple. I care about this community, the community that I live in and that I love. And I believe I have the enthusiasm and the effort to put in to make sure that the things that these two have brought forward in that strategic plan come to fruition. And then not only that, we start looking now, I believe as Ron touched on, to move forward past that. Because the next time to make your strategic plan is not when yours ends, it's before it ends, so that you can carry through what you have started. What I bring to this position, I'm a union member with my fire department. I've been on our union executive board. I've negotiated our contracts. I've worked positions within the department where I've created positions for our city. I've worked and created budgets for our city. I've lobbied on Capitol Hill, and I believe I have the ability to perform this job. I will make a positive change. I will increase the speed of change. I get tired of hearing statements like, the wheels of government turn slow. That's crap when it comes to our kids. Excuse my language, but I don't think it's right. We need to move. If it's a good idea, we need to do it. I grew up here in Carson City. I was born here. I graduated from UNR. I graduated from Carson High School also. I believe I was one of the first Mr. Carson Highs, if anybody is aware of that competition. So that might be pretty exciting if I get to be on the board also.
Yeah, bring a whole new aspect.
My wife and I, after college, we moved down to Las Vegas. That's where I got my job. And then after living there, we decided we didn't like it. and we love this town. And so we moved back. We moved back here about 6 years ago, and I would just want to make sure that we have the best darn community in this country, and I'm going to see to it. And so I decided I could do more, and I'm running. And I sincerely believe that actions speak louder than words. And so it kills me to sit up here and just tell you things. I would like to get in there and do. My 3 things, we live in a changing world. I think the lecture hall in a lot of ways is archaic, and we have to become more diverse in how we teach our children. I think they're doing a good job of that, and I think we need to do even a greater job at touching all of the children. Not every child learns the same, and so we need to provide opportunities for all of them to learn in all of their different ways that they learn. When I was growing up, everybody wanted you to go to college. Now, I did go to college, but it made people who didn't go to college feel like they didn't make or achieve the goal. And the reality is that's not right. Some of the smartest folks I know didn't go to college. And we need to have a school system that creates lifelong learners and problem solvers. That's what the work world needs. They don't need a college degree. Some places do, but not everything. And then third, I think our curriculum, I need to make sure that it's representative of our community and its values and its needs. Earlier tonight, they were talking about Tesla moving in and how to create people to take those jobs. And that's exactly what I intend to do, is to make sure that we are educating our kids in a holistic fashion, if you will, in order to prepare them for this new world and the new opportunities. Thank you.
Ryan, thank you very much. And as I noted earlier, Jim Bathgate is unable to attend tonight. He submitted a prepared statement, and I'll read it into the record here. And this is his writing. I would first like to thank the League of Women Voters for inviting me. I am sorry that I'm unable to attend your forum because I'm at WNC this evening. Here is a brief summary of my background. I have a PhD in economics from the University of Connecticut. I have taught college economics for close to 14 years, the last 4 years at Western Nevada College. I am also a math and statistics tutor. However, my most important job is stay-at-home dad for 8-year-old twins. I have a passion for teaching and have worked with students of all ages and backgrounds. My experience as a college teacher has given me insight into the skills our children need to excel in higher education and in the workplace. As an economist, I also understand the need for efficiency when dealing with scarce resources. Taxpayers have every right to demand a reasonable return on their investment. I will be a taxpayer advocate and make sure our taxes go to support students, not administrative overhead and waste. My background will also help me analyze and evaluate the economic impact of decisions made regarding district planning, employment of personnel, and school finance. I am running for the Carson City School District 1 School Board because I love Carson City and want to contribute to the community. I believe education is the key to the future success of our area, state, and nation. Educating our children is just not an issue for parents, but for everyone in the community. Through education, we can ensure our economy will be poised for success, our citizens will be engaged with their government, and our future leaders will be able to face the challenges of the 21st century. I believe that my background as a college professor and stay-at-home dad provides a unique and valuable perspective that is currently not represented on the school board. I would appreciate your support on Election Day. And that concludes his written statement. With the introductions having been made, we now move into the question and response section. Each individual candidate will have 1 minute to respond. We will go in a rotating order. Since Ron began first out of the box on introductions, Stacy, you'll begin with the questions and we'll move forward. So here's the first question. What direct involvement have you had in working with our teachers, administrators, and school district policies?
I think we've had direct impact. We're the ones that put the policies together. We do get into the classroom, not as much as I'd like to. I'm involved in the community PLC, the wellness committee, the nutritious committee. So I think that I try to be as involved as I can.
Thank you, Stacy. Ryan, same question, please.
I'm going to have to learn the microphone thing.
Yeah, it's the hard part.
As far as direct involvement, I guess none, other than just being around. And I have many friends who are teachers and administrators, but I don't give them my advice. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Ron, same question, please.
Well, for the last 4 years, I've been to every school, sitting down with the principals, as well as observing classroom activities. I just make it a point that I do this periodically so that I am in touch with what's going on and listen particularly to what the teachers have to say. But as I said in my opening comments, this is a tough business when you go out and observe what's going on. And the administrators, the principals, the staff, the classified staff, and others, you just need to take the time to see it. And it's, like I said before, all of us should take more time to observe, listen, and say thank you.
Thank you, Ron. We then will move to our next question. And Ryan, you'll be the first to respond, please. And here's the question. What is your position on the education initiative, also known as the margins tax, and why?
My position is I think it's a bad tax. And the reason is the person who wrote the initial draft of that tax many years ago for the legislature is Randy Thompson. And he's the Secretary-Treasurer of the AFL-CIO. And what the teachers union did to his version in how they calculate it made it to where the AFL-CIO is not even supporting it. So therefore, it's that bad. So my position is no. So please vote no.
Thank you, Ryan. Ron, same question, please.
No, my position is no on that, on the margins tax, and I say that from a former business owner perspective. The last thing we want to do is even have a perception of discouraging businesses from coming into Nevada, and I believe is more funding needed? Yes, and I think we can figure that out. But you don't do it this way, in my opinion. You take the time, and I think what we've seen just with our community, people come together and tend to provide the resources needed. But in direct answer to the question, no, I'm not in support of the margins tax.
That makes
Thank you, Ryan. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Stacy, your turn.
I'm so used to being president when I'm up here now that I'm just taking charge. Sorry, Robert. So that makes 3. I don't believe in the margin tax. Even when they say that it's going to come to education, everything always gets diluted by the time it gets through, especially the legislature. I think the bigger task right now is for the legislature to come up with a funding mechanism that is equal to all parts, mental health, to education, to the infrastructure. I think that's a bigger problem that we have right now than working with the margin tax and discouraging businesses.
Thank you very much, Stacy. We now move to the next question. And let me look at my sheet. I apologize here. Okay. And Ron, you'll be the first to respond to this new question. And here it is. What are the pro and cons of Common Core and the STEAM program? It says STEAM. STEAM. S-T-E-A-M.
Okay, let's go to Common Core. I think, the intent of where it started, and until proven otherwise, I think it's still good. It is standards in English, or the English language arts and math, to provide a minimum standard. Keep in mind, minimum. We've gone beyond that here in Carson. A minimum standard of proficiency and for students, to think. The cons, I'm still waiting, and I'm taking a neutral position until I see the testing that goes along with this. The standards are set. Our teachers set the curriculum. So I think right now there's nothing wrong with STEAM, science, technology, engineering, the arts, and math. I think it's great. We've met because with No Child Left Behind, somehow the arts got left out of this. Meeting with the Capital City Arts Initiative, we're now getting the visual and literary arts back into the schools. And so that's one thing I want to emphasize.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ron. Stacy, same question, please.
The pros are it's an international benchmark, so every state will have the same standardized testing. They have the same standards. The rigor is better. They're making kids think out of the box. And it's only in English and math. We still have our science and social studies that are not yet standardized. And when we standardize the test, I think that'll be helpful. The cons is we started this 2 years ago. The governor, Sandoval, is the one that signed us up for this. We didn't do this. We already have our standards. And as Ron said, our standards are higher. So it's giving it a bad name. And we're discussing too much about Common Core and not where our education is going right now and where our students need to go. And we have those in place with the programs that we have. STEAM is very important. We have a STEM lab at Eagle Valley. We have a program at Carson Middle. And as Ron said, the arts have now come in with the initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. Ryan, the same question, please, sir.
Okay. I think the important part to understand with Common Core is that it's standards. It's not curriculum. And so my job on the school board is to know those standards very well. And like they said, Carson City already supersedes those standards. And therefore, make sure that our curriculum is representative of our community's values. And then make sure that we are teaching to those standards in a way that we see fit. Because there's a lot of folks that I think confuse the standard versus curriculum portion of that. And then the same thing, bringing in new standards for the STEM or STEAM, however we're going to go with it. All of it is important. What it comes down to is I think all of us agreed that what we were doing was not working. That was unanimous. We're trying something new and we're moving forward. And I think like Stacy said, our Board of Education decides these standards, not us. We implement.
Ryan, thank you very much. We go to a new question, which is actually kind of related to the previous question. So Stacy will be the first to answer this, please. And the question is, how can we keep the Common Core standards from turning into another round of teaching to the test?
How can we not teach to the test? Because from my understanding with Common Core especially, it's a lot of the out of the box. It's trying to get the people to think a different way and just do problem solving. If it's not Common Core, it's No Child Left Behind. And if you get rid of Common Core, you're going to have something else. Until we get legislators or Congress or U.S. senators that actually understand education and have educators actually do an educational program, we're just going to have to be doing the same thing every time. I don't think we've ever actually tested or done the curriculum so that they could pass a test. And I don't think we're going to start now.
Thank you, Stacy. Ryan, same question, please.
All right. Well, tests aren't going to go away. So we're always, when I got my job, I sat in a room with 5,000 people, and I took a test for a job. You want to have a stressful test? That's a stressful test. And I got selected. So we have to test. Teaching to the test, of course. We want our children, and hopefully this comes about from these new standards, that they get this more well-rounded way of doing things. But the reality is life is not always easy, and you have to pass tests. So the tests aren't going to go away. What we have to do is deal with the teachers that might be inappropriately teaching towards the test, and then make sure that we are keeping our school system on track, providing a quality, well-rounded education, not just to have great test scores.
Thank you, Ryan. Ron, same question, please.
Okay, again, our community and the strategic plan and their input. And for any of you, there's a few copies of this back there on the table if you want to grab one. You'll look under the beliefs on page 7, and it says, the measure of success for students must extend beyond standardized tests to students who are lifelong learners and empowered to compete. First of all, the teachers are not teaching to a test, they're teaching to the standards. So that's a little bit different. And because of the minimum standards, that will continue. But what this community has provided through extended after-school programs in STEAM, science, technology, engineering, and math, and taking combining the strengths of traditional learning with evolving technology, we have taken the kids above the standards. The minimum standards, let them go, but we have other ways of making their lives successful so that no matter where they go in this world, they can contribute and compete.
Thank you, Ron. And we move to a new question, and this time, Ryan, you'll be the first to be able to respond, and here's the question. The school district has adopted a strategic plan. Do you know how the plan currently is being implemented? Is there a program in the strategic plan that you favor in particular?
Yes, I do. I've been meeting with school board members as I go and talking to them about the strategic plan. I think they're doing a very good job with it, and if you have asked me before or asking me now, my goal is to get on this board and make sure that we press harder going forward. Make sure that we complete it, and like I said earlier, get ready for the new strategic plan. I think they did a really good job. My favorite part of that strategic plan, I'm glad you asked that, was getting the community involved, going into the businesses and finding out what they need, and then asking them to come in and help our schools, help us train what you need for your workforce. And then that brings a greater community involvement. And so that's my favorite part of the plan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Ron, same question, please.
Well, I started out with the communities in full partnership. However, every of the 5 goals defined by this community, they're all equally as important here. Community in full partnership, actively connecting every student with learning beyond the classroom. That's our business partners want to do that, and they're doing it now. Engaging parents and guardians, and we're doing that through that evolving technology with the e-portfolio, so parents, teachers, counselors, and students can finally be linked from the 4th grade on. Healthy generation of Carson City students, our community, and I was sitting at a table when this was initially said, if we don't look at the social, emotional, and physical health of our students, we're kind of kidding ourselves. So that's an important goal. Curriculum that matters. This, again, taking the best of traditional learning with evolving technology, it's all important. Exceptional administrators and staff, that innovative and creativity. The community said, let's do it. If the teachers can do it, the students will rise to the occasion. So I like it all.
Thank you, Ron. Stacy, same question, please.
It's like asking you which one of your kids is favorite. I'm like Ron, I feel vested in all 5. And to say that there's a favorite, I think the only part that maybe has a little edge, of course, is the community in full partnership. And one example is we had a CAD program in our high school and brought in a couple people from the business world that deal with CAD on a daily basis, and they told us there was no way these kids would ever get hired in their business because it was totally the wrong program. And they came in and they worked with the software developer and got us the right CAD program. So now, after you have CAD 3, there are actually manufacturers in this town that'll actually hire you. So I think that's working with the community. But I don't have a favorite because then one of them would feel alienated.
Thank you, Stacy. We move on to the next question, and Ron, you will be the first to respond. It's tied in with the previous question, and here it is. What specific accomplishments have come from implementing the strategic plan?
Okay, let's start with combining the strengths of traditional learning with evolving technology. This is where our Race to the Top grant came in. As a result of our strategic plan, we came out #1 in the nation in that competitive grant. The strengths of traditional learning through the Race to the Top grant, we have taken all of the teachers, all the curriculum from middle school through high school for every class, provided learning guides for students to address remedial issues or for students who want more. We've combined that with evolving technology, the one-to-one laptops, the digital technology from the library as a partner, the manufacturer, the design and development tools in SolidWorks, the e-portfolio. This is one of the great things, and I could go on all night as to what has been accomplished because of this roadmap.
Thank you, Ron. Stacy, same question, please.
I think the biggest one is we're all moving in one direction now. The administration knows where we're going, we know where we're going, the students know where we're going, the teachers know where we're going. And I think that has sped it up, and having it within 5 years and having a time limit and having these action steps afterwards have helped. All those programs that Ron talked about are big, and we see how we've completed them every quarterly at our community PLCs, and then every monthly with our Race to the Top updates. And if anybody wants to see, we actually post those on our website at carsoncityschools.com too.
Thank you, Stacy. Ryan, the same question, please.
Well, I think as seen in there's a newspaper article the other day, I don't remember which day, but our schools have gotten better. The school rating scores have gone up. I think that's a very specific accomplishment. Back to testing, I guess. And then I would agree with Stacy. A strategic plan is valuable for everything from your own personal household to a business, to schools, to city government. The supervisors touched on it earlier. It gives you a foundation, something to go back to, a measuring stick that you can say, does this fit with what our goals are, what our goals that we're hoping to accomplish? And then you can cut it out or go forward with it. And so it's been very valuable there and provided many accomplishments.
Thank you, Ryan. We move to a new question for response, and Stacy, you'll be the first up on the new question, and here it is. With or without the Education Initiatives Margins Tax, how do you see the district operating more efficiently to make best use of whatever funding is available?
Well, I think we do that every year. We never have money that comes in except for Race to the Top. I think this year it's going to be a little tighter, but it's what we did last year when we thought we had workshops. We invited the community, we invited teachers. We needed to find out what the priorities were for the city and for the schools and listen to how that might affect the schools. Education never gets enough money and never will. But we are lucky enough to be in Carson where people step up and fill in and help out at the schools or take time to take kids to the manufacturing plants. And just like we do in our own households, we stay within our checkbook, and hopefully that means that we're not going to be cutting people or programs, but that is always the option if we have to balance the budget.
Thank you, Stacy. Ryan, the same question, please.
Can you repeat it real quick, please?
I'd be happy to. With or without the Education Initiatives Margins Tax, how do you see the district operating more efficiently to make best use of whatever funding is available?
Well, I think, like with all things in life, you set your budget and you try to run as efficiently as possible, and I believe they have been doing that. I don't know if they could be much more efficient. It's been really tough from what I've seen and understand coming out through this. Hopefully we're getting better. If the margins tax doesn't pass, what we need to do though is, I think, really hammer the legislature to allow us, if we decide as a community that we want to put more money into our schools, that we can, and they won't take money from us. And it's not only allocated in certain ways. If we want to have the best schools, then we should be able to do that. If we want to pay for it more, or however creative we want to be, I think that we should have more control on the local level of what we do with our funding in our schools. Not just how we spend it, but if we have a big donor that wants to give us money, why can't we take that? That's wrong.
Thank you, Ryan. Ron, same question, please.
Well, the last 4 years have been very interesting as far as funding, and whether or not the margin tax passes, and let's just assume we're at the same levels as we are now. Again, when this community came together to develop the strategic plan, they said, if there's not funding, we'll help. Help not with money, but time and expertise. We have some of the smartest people in the world here. That's one way, and we'll keep working at that and utilizing our community partners. Fortunately, and I will say one thing, we have probably the best superintendent in Nevada here. We're fortunate to have that person here. And we've had some, and it's Richard Stokes over here. We've had some interesting and hard-fought, discussions on things that should be funded, whether they be elementary school counselors, of things we can do. But we have a person as our employee who stands fast, saying this is what we need, following our strategic plan, and we have that dialogue. So we have a community that cares, and I think we'll continue no matter what.
Thank you, Ron. We move to a new question, and on this question, you'll be the first to respond, Ryan. And here's the question. How would you encourage more parents to be involved with their students and with schools?
If I had the best answer to this, I'd win a big award. Look, good parents, involved parents, make the best kids. That's the unfortunate reality. And the other unfortunate reality is we just can't make people do things. They have that choice, I guess, as parents, and it's really unfortunate. But what I plan to do is I'm going to lead, and I'm going to lead by example. You can find me at just about any of the ball fields. I'm missing my kids' practices tonight. I referee sports. I'm out there, and I'm going to make sure that I can be an example for anybody else who doesn't or feels like they can't. And then hopefully I affect one parent, and then they'll get out there and affect another parent. But if we do that, then this community will really change. If we make ourselves leaders and get out there and show them the way.
Thank you, Ryan. Ron, same question, please.
Okay, let me just give you an example of one of our partners, how he suggested parents to get involved. He is the CEO and president of a manufacturing business. When we took our kids, our engineering class, to his business, he said, the one thing that would make a difference is why don't you have the parents come with the kids? Not that they have to know anything, but if they see the kid's interest, all they have to do is support that kid's interest. And he gave the story. His father was a house painter, and he wanted him to graduate from high school and become part of the family business. There was another partner, and this was in Susanville, who tapped him on the shoulder and says, I know you have a different interest. Let me kind of give you another view of the world. Well, he wound up at Stanford, a graduate of Stanford Engineering School. But it's the involvement of actually taking the kids and their parents to these places of business to see the kids' interests, whether it's manufacturing, health occupations, or ag. Okay.
Thank you, Ron. Stacy, same question, please.
Well, I like Ryan. That's a $10 million question. I think we've worked really hard at making more opportunities for parents to feel more welcome. We have more administrators getting out and talking to them and making events happen. We have the thing that Ron talked about. It's still as a parent, you're real involved when they're in elementary, and then it kind of dwindles as in their middle school. Of course, they're hard to get along with in middle school. You really don't want to be involved with them. And then they go to the high school, and they don't want you involved. So it's a matter of finding out ways. But we have so many ways for the community and parents to get involved that they're there. It's a matter of trying to make them feasible for them, and food always helps.
Thank you, Stacy. Personally, I would agree with that statement. We're at that point where time went rapidly, so we're at the stage of closing statements. Each of our 3 candidates will have 1 minute for closing. And Ron, we will start with you with the 1 minute closing, please.
Okay, again, I'm running for this re-election, and I would hope I would have your support. I've got a passion for just jumping in and making things happen, and they happen for the reason the kids are in school. That's achievement and success in life. And and if reelected, I'll continue to engage community members and actually thank those members, for adding meaning to our students' lives. Anyway, I'll hope for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Stacy, your 1 minute closing, please.
First of all, I'd like to thank you and the League of Voters for having us, and all of you for coming out. This always makes it tough when the things are televised, to see if people are actually going to show up in person. So it's kind of nice to see faces. We usually see them for about 15 minutes at the school board, and then the kids leave after they're presenting, and it's empty. So it's really nice to see people involved. I've enjoyed and I feel very privileged to serve as the trustee in District 3. I'm so excited about things that are going on, and I'd really like to fulfill the Empowerment 2017 and to stay involved for the next 4 years. This is a great city, and I am truly blessed to be in it and to be involved. So I ask you for your vote for School Board Trustee District 3. Thank you and have a good night.
Stacy, thank you. Ryan, your 1 minute closing, please.
To echo Stacy, thank you, everybody, for showing up, for physically coming out and attending this. The reason you should elect me is because I live a life of service, and this is just an extenuation of everything else that I've done up to this point. I'm willing and able to provide the leadership needed for this position, and I want to be more involved. And this will provide me that. Most importantly, I care. And people who care take the time to do the little things. They take the time to make sure that everything is ready and adjusted and moving forward appropriately. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Would want to thank our 3 candidates for the position of school trustee for being with us this evening and participating. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank all the folks for attending. Let's have a round of applause for our candidates, please. And we have a couple of announcements, so hold tight for a second. The next forum will be on Monday, September the 29th, right in this room at 6 p.m. And we will have the candidates and welcome views for those that are running for District Attorney, Assembly District 4, and State Senate District number 16.
40.
40, I'm sorry, I read it wrong. Or else they redistricted when I wasn't looking. Then the following evening, on Tuesday, September 30th, we'll have candidates for Lieutenant Governor, Attorney General, Secretary of State, and U.S. House of Representatives in this room. Once again, a forum. The League of Women Voters has a voter's guide on the website, and it's lwvnn.org. And the League of Women Voters, AAUW, Sierra Nevada Forums would like to thank the speakers, volunteers, the audience for participating tonight. All 4 of the forums that have been and will be held, the 4 in this election cycle, will be rebroadcast on Carson TV channel 191 until the election day. And again, thank you very much for attending, and please have a wonderful evening.